reports the news and performs in front of the camera. There could be 2 reporters if you have groups that are bigger than 5. Ideally, you'll want 5 to 7 campers per group. So if you have a small amount of campers, you could put them all into one group if you have 7. If a little bit more, then you could spread them out amongst some of these other roles. So the reporter, their responsibility is to copy the script from the writer's composition book onto their teleprompter poster board. It's very difficult for kids at this age to read each other's handwriting. It's sometimes difficult for them to read their own too, but the idea here is that they can read their own handwriting better than someone else's. So if you have your own handwriting on the poster board, then you'll be able to read it a little bit better. So they practice their delivery and then they perform. So the reporter should be working with also the writer-researcher on the script to copy that. Audio tech, person in charge of setting up microphones and plugging them into the camera. If not enough campers, combine with writer-researcher role. That can easily be done together. So audio text directions. Number 1, they clip on the lavalier to the reporter, or they give the reporter the handheld microphone. Again, giving them responsibility with the gear. They plug the microphone into the extension cable. I'll go over this when we, at the end of today, when we do our little workshop and I show you how to plug everything in. And then they plug that extension cable into a little splitter, which plugs into the iPad. And last, plug in headphones to monitor audio. We're actually not going to do that because I just was troubleshooting things and found out that you can't listen to what's being recorded when it's being recorded. You can only listen to it during playback. So what I mean by that is once you press record, then you won't be able to hear anything in the headphones. It's only recording. It's not showing you what you're at. It's not monitoring the audio that you're recording. Questions?
Yeah, I did that yesterday, and my counselor who was filming, he could hear us because before we started with action, we had to talk into the loft to make sure he heard us, and he'd give us the thumbs up.
Were you using the vScope app?
Yeah.
We will not be, again, we will not be using the vScope app. I cannot stress that more for folks at home. Do not use that vScope app because we're not going to be able to work with your footage afterwards. You can use that to show the campers the background, but again, that might take more time, and you just need to tell them that you pick the B-roll image that you want from a list that I'll provide all of you with, and then we're going to put that in the background during editing. Yes.
So how do we record which backgrounds they want?
All of the backgrounds are already recorded.
No, I mean, how do we tell you which backgrounds they've chosen?
You'll want to make a note of that in the video that you upload.
Okay,
I'm going to go over file management at the end of the day too. But it should be pretty apparent based on what they're talking about too. I have some of my editors actually who are going to be editing all of this throughout the week too. So the more information that you can provide them with, the better they'll be able to organize things. But I'll go over file organization in a bit. Lastly is the writer-researcher. That's the person in charge of taking notes during group brainstorming and writing the actual script. Not enough campers, combined with audio. If too many campers, then you could have 2 writer-researchers. This is a very important role because they take notes during group brainstorming, they write the script, they help the reporter copy the script onto the teleprompter poster board, and they help out with what's needed on set. Once you actually start your production, then there's random things that you may need, and that writer-researcher is supposed to fill that role. So the idea is during the brainstorming and when they're in their groups, getting together their stories, they each have a role that they get to play. They all are storytellers though, and they all have to help each other in order to make sure that they shoot is good. And they'll learn working with each other. The first few days are gonna be a little bit rocky, but again, I have us shooting just one segment each day. And I think that's manageable for us to shoot one segment on each day. And if we don't shoot that one segment, then maybe we can shoot a little bit more the next day and go back if we have time to schedule. There's a lot of time in the schedule, so you'll most likely have time to do some other things, especially if you have a small group. Yes.
I just wanted to clarify, we're not using the VScope app for this curriculum, but we're still using it for the others.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the others. That's should be a Chris and Tiffany question, but I've used the VScope app in the storytelling curriculum, and we had the same problem. It had some type of delay afterwards.
Yeah.
Did you have that
I
problem
actually
too?
had a problem when I was doing a mock trial.
We had the same problem, yeah.
Commercial, the camera, VScope just kept shutting down and the iPad kept
Yeah.
resetting.
Yeah.
We had the
Right.
same
Same
problem.
here.
So we ended
Right.
up just using just the camera.
Yes, that's what you're going to
Yeah.
be using throughout this too, is just the camera.
Okay.
The camera built into the
And
iPad.
then,
All right.
sorry if you have to repeat yourself, but then in
No.
editing, you're gonna put the backgrounds?
Yeah, in editing, we will deal with all the backgrounds.
Okay.
So
But
that's one
we're
less thing
gonna
that we have to
tell
worry
you
about.
what we want. We'll be able
yeah.
to see it.
You will not be able to see the backgrounds.
No,
No.
I'm saying to give like a shot of, even if we don't use it, do we get a choice to pick what we want? I mean, at least a picture of it or something.
Yeah, definitely. You'll
Okay.
get a
Because are you
list.
saying you won't be able to see it, but we'll be able to see what we choose?
I'm
Do
going.
you understand? I
Yes,
know it
yes,
sounds
absolutely.
weird, but.
Absolutely. I'm going to send out an email with a few more supplemental materials. In there's going to be the words for the improv game that we played, a few situations for another improv game, and it will also have a list of B-roll. It'll just describe what's going on, like a picture of Catzilla, a snowstorm in Minnesota or something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head which exact B-roll images we have, but you will have a list. And you'll have the campers choose in their group the list of B-roll.
A list with pictures.
A list with pictures, yes.
There you go.
Oh,
So-
sorry, one more question. And they can only have one background per video?
Yes,
Or- okay.
one background per video. It depends on what we're shooting. So the field segment, that's one background. They're interacting with that one background the whole time. But for example, the news anchor segment, they're going to be introducing different stories, and it's just a picture in the top left corner of the screen,
Okay.
just like you see on the news programs. So you'll be able to choose a few different pictures for that, and they'll kind of introduce those stories. Yes.
I have to head out early. Can I get your email?
Yes, absolutely.
Or can I get this email to me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah?
We'll email out this video.
Okay.
But
okay.
you all can feel free to take down my number too. Feel
Yeah.
free to call me throughout it. This is the first year we're starting this too, and I tried to design this in a way that anybody can teach it. You don't have to have a production background in order to teach this, but it's the first year we're doing this, and it's a beta version of it. So my number is 646 area code 428 4272. Again, 646 428 4272. And my email is my name, Antonio, Antonio. My last name, Ayala, Ayala, 415@gmail.com. Sorry, it's kind of long. Antonio, Antonio, Ayala, Ayala, 415@gmail.com.
The best area code.
I know, and I don't even have a 415 area code. Darn.
You used to.
I'm gonna head out, guys.
Now,
All right.
much.
do
Thank
I
you.
have to email you or call you from like my room? Since you're my son?
So moving on.
Wait,
to,
it's 415, right, for the Gmail, for the...
for the Gmail, yes.
Okay.
Antonio Ayala 415@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us.
Bye, Lisa.
Bye, Lisa.
Look forward to that video. You too.
I think what will be helpful is to, before we keep on going through the mini lectures, is to look at the actual production guides of what they're doing throughout the day. So let's turn to page 32, 33. just a few pages back from where we were. We're going to be looking at page 33 here, because field reporting is a little bit more involved in the weather report, so I'll use this as an example. So this is broken down in the Camp Brady method. Again, we have Spark, Explore, Expand, Do, and reflect this later. So Spark for the field reporting segment today is a discussion. Each time you break up into your groups for the actual production part of it, this is how you're gonna run that production part of it. So you'll have the group get together and they'll discuss these questions first off. That go for about, I think I have it going for about 30 minutes or so. Why are field reports important? How does our story improve by having someone reporting directly from the action? How can we as reporters help others by telling them what's going on in the field? So this is just kind of to get them thinking about what a field report is and why it's important. Then explore. We actually get into our story. They'll pick their B-roll images, or image in this case, and they'll craft their story according to that image. So, yes, question?
B-roll, what's that?
B-roll, thank you. B-roll, again, feel free to stop me throughout it. I tend to go fast when it comes to these types of things. I've worked in this industry for a while. But B-roll is what you are cutting away to. In production, we call that B-roll because it's outside of what we're shooting inside the studio. So if this is a broadcast studio, and everything that we shoot of the campers delivering their stuff, that is called the A-roll. So that is the bit of everything. And then we add on top of that. So we add, for example, a B-roll image, a video of, let's say, a hailstorm behind the reporter. So we call it, again, B-roll because it's not existing inside the studio. It's not something that we produce. That's
The editing part?
yes, that comes in during editing. But you will need to know what you're going to be interacting with. So that's why the first part of Explore is to pick their B-roll.
Just to clarify, because you get multiple ones for the news anchor, but for the weather, there's only one. They only get to choose one type of weather, so it's only one.
No,
B-roll.
they'll get to choose 2 or 3 different.
So they'll have multiple B-roll images for that day
Yes.
as well.
You know this weird?
Oh, yes, please.
Get a
Thank
different
you.
angle. This is my good side too.
No, I just wanted to.
Now he's, look at us.
Is there a reason why we're really on this?
Some people,
Everybody else.
Yes, I am the site director, so I should probably do this stuff, not you.
So again, number 1 is to pick your B-roll image, so that way you can craft your story around that B-roll image. Just like how they do in a real newsroom. They'll have footage of, let's say, a hailstorm, and they'll craft a story around that. So then we get into writing our story. Part A is research B-roll and pick footage for your story. So, for example, if it were still using the example of the hailstorm, they'll research or think of different ways of staying safe during a hailstorm, for example. And they'll be saying that to the camera in front of our green screen. Then we create a paragraph that covers, number 1, what's going on in our B-roll. And we, as a group, think of a way to have a clear beginning, middle, and end that tells a straightforward report, a straightforward story. So much like storytelling, it's you want to make sure that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Beginning, you introduce what's going on. Middle, you talk about what that means to your report. And 3, you conclude it. If we're still using the example of a hailstorm, we say something along the lines of, you want to make sure to stay safe today and stay out of the bouldering hail or something like that. So beginning, middle, end. Problem, solution,